Hi, this is Dan Marson from the Cosander Institute, and I just wanted to walk through a couple things that I did for a faculty project a few months ago. And I basically had to get the information from a lot of treaties on the UN website. And so what happened was there are these 6 treaties that the faculty were really interested in, and they came on these United Nations treaty collection tables like this. And so basically this is one of the 6 treaties. Number 8, the CEDAW, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. All your participants are in this first column here, all the people who signed it. There's a signature date, and there's a ratification date. Sometimes it's an accession date signaled with an A, or there will be a D for succession. That's in the case of like a country that became a country. So Bosnia and Herzegovina, not a country until 1993, had been part of Yugoslavia before that, maybe 92, 91, something like that. So those are your cases where you have succession. So basically what I did here was I just copied all of these tables and just open up Excel, and it pastes nicely into Excel. And you can do this so that everything fits more nicely. You can like clear formatting, and then there you go, everything auto fits. You of course notice that these dates show up as dates. Let's see if we can put them in date format, and that fixes it. 7/17/1988, 14/1980. Yeah, those are the right dates. We don't actually need the signatures, but they're nice to have. Anyway, what they wanted was they wanted some information on if the country had a footnote in the first column here, which meant that they had some kind of objection, and it linked to that. So like Bangladesh here, they had a reservation, number 5, etc. So sometimes they don't end in a number, but here Argentina had a reservation, but they didn't have a number at the end. But it seemed that the most important ones to get were the ones with the footnotes at the end. So what we did was we had, I wrote up some Python code, and I'll show it to you. Do this. This will open in Python 2.7, but I'm not actually going to run it. But what I do is I actually just copied each of those into this source data, and I actually save them as a CSV file, and I just name them name of the treaty. Actually, they're up here. Here they are. So like here's CEDAW. There's the CSV file. And then we don't need this anymore. What I did was I said, take all of these and then loop through them, and then for each one do year, country, sign date, and then the name of the treaty, ratify date, and the name of the treaty. And I wanted to come up with a reservation dummy, signature year, ratification year, etc. And ratification timer, signature timer. So the timers were how many years since ratification or how many years since signature for each one. And the the signature dummy would be something like 1 if the country has signed it prior to that date, and 0 if they haven't. So what I do is I basically go through there, and I use regular expressions in Python to find a 4-digit string within the ratify year column, and that becomes the ratify year. So if you can find 4 straight numbers, that's the year. If you can't find 4 straight numbers, that's not it. Or they didn't ratify, or they didn't sign, whatever. So I loop through that, and I find all those. And then what I do is I create a data set just for years 1949 to 2014, and I say that the difference between the signature year and the current year is a year minus the signature year. So that's how you create the thing. And if the difference is less than 0, then you create the dummy of 0, or otherwise it's 1. And then I create this like CEDAW Dan file that looks something like this. So we have Afghanistan, they sign and ratify. They sign 1980, they ratify 2003. And so if you look here on this timer, we have basically 31 years to go until signature in 1949. So 1949 to 1980 is 31 years, and 54 years to go from 1949 until 2003. And you'll see ratification dummy. If they've ever ratified, no, 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 until we get up to here, the year that they do ratify 2003, it switches to 1. And there's also reservation dummy, and you'll see that anything that had ended in a footnote before, like Algeria, now has a 1 in all years. It would be very easy to switch that so that it's only 1 in years when it has already been ratified, but they just ask for 1 in any year for that country. So if you just do those, then you get a whole bunch of CSV files. You can import them all into Stata, and then you can just merge them one-to-one on country and year and have no problem with that at all. There's some other things in this Python file, a lot on doing some different things with like a UN data set and particular things that needed to be done there. And, you know, if there was something like Yemen, it needed to be democratic Yemen or the other way around. Some things with going into a CSV for national trade and finding a particular thing, and, you know, -9 meant missing. Replace that with actual just missing so that it wasn't confusing, etc., etc. But anyway, the point is we can do a lot of simple things with a table like this in just a few lines of code where we turn it into something more like what you're looking for. Okay, I hope that's helpful. I don't expect you to want to do it yourself, but now you should be aware that this is one of the things that we can easily do for you to help with your research. Thanks for watching.